Hey guys, Bird Yugioh here, coming at you with another deck profile. This time it's going to be Tellarknights, very fun control deck. And actually, this deck is a really good meta call right now. It's because this deck will do very good against the current meta, with Pendulum Magicians, heck, even True Draco. This I'm sure would even do very good against. So yeah, it's kind of like a stun control deck. So yeah, let's get started. Start off with, we play best card in the deck that you always want to see. Satellarknight Deneb. This card, if it's summoned, you can add one Tellarknight monster from your deck to your hand, except Deneb, which usually you're going to want to be searching out Altair. Altair, if this is summoned, you can target one Tellarknight in your graveyard and special summon it. So that one is really going to help you extend your plays. And then the other one we play at 3 is Yugioh. If he's summoned, you can send one Tellarknight from your deck to the graveyard, which that's normally going to be Deneb, so that then you can, when you get to Altair, then you can Altair and special summon Deneb. So yeah, just a good play starter. It also dumps your Tellarknights for Call of the Haunted and Oasis of Dragon Souls, which you play in this deck as well. And that last Tellarknight, last monster in the deck, it's very this is a very trap heavy version of this, which I think is the best version to play. You'll see why with some of the cards I play. But we played 2 Vega. This one is obviously not as important as these ones, because this one's going to special summon from the hand. So you're normally not going to be having too many of these in hand. I mean, obviously some hands you will, but for the most part, you can. It does come up, every now and then to want to special summon one from in hand. So that's it. Just 11 Tellarknights and 11 monsters. That's all you play in the deck. That's all you need to play. And starting with the spells, which is another very low count. 2 Tellarknight Skybridge. This card, so say you just open up these 2 and a bunch of traps or something like that. You can do some pretty good plays. So you'll be normal summoning, and then you would normally want to send Deneb to the grave, and then either the first turn you play it, or on your opponent's turn, then you would want to play Skybridge, target this, and then you would want to target Altair. You would shuffle this back into the deck, special Altair. You'll get off Altair's effect to then special summon Deneb, and then Deneb can then add whatever you want. It could be a Yugioh or another Deneb, or sorry, it can't be another Deneb, or an Altair, in case one of these does go to grave. Or with this also, you can just add a card so that you can then discard for one of your XYZ monsters to then go into them. So that's definitely why you want to play Skybridge. It's just a really good play starter if you don't have quite the card you need, or want to do a little bit more. Great card. Our only draw power is going to be Pot of Desires. Play it at 2. In this particular build, you don't have to play it at 3, so you don't, because you want to make room for more traps. We play Reinforcement of the Army, searches out any of your Tellarknight monsters, and then Monster Reborn, because that can just get your plays going, and very good in this deck. So that's it for spells. And now, pretty much the bulk of the deck is going to be traps. One of the best ones for this archetype is Stellar Nova Alpha. Basically, it's a counter trap, so there's not much that can stop it. When a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated, You would send one face-up Tellarknight monster you control to the grave, negate that activation, destroy it, and then you draw a card. So it just gets you a lot of advantage. You know, if you have one of the satellarknight Xyz monsters and you send that to the grave, you get off their effects to either special summon one from grave or special summon one from the deck. All it does is just get you advantage and stops your opponent's plays. So amazing card, definitely play it. Another one would play at 3 that just stops your opponent's plays. Doesn't do as much for this particular deck as Stellar Nova Alpha, but it's obviously an amazing card. Solemn Judgment just says no to anything. You pay life points, but that doesn't matter, you know, if you're going to win. 3 Solemn Strike. Same reason we play 3 Judgment. It just stops your opponent's plays, and that's kind of what you want to do with this deck, is just, you know, stop your opponent's plays, get your plays off, clear the board, and then it's also why we play the 1 Warning. Just another negate, you know, monster summons and stuff like that. That's it for the Solemn package. One of the more important cards for this deck, Call of the Haunted. Again, if you open Unicali and Call of the Haunted, you know, you can Unicali, dump a Deneb, Call of the Haunted on your opponent's turn for the Deneb, add an Altair, and then go off again next turn. So this just keeps your plays going, keeps monsters on the board, just keeps adding pressure. And it's a continuous, which will come up when I show you some of the Xyz monsters. That's also why we play Oasis of Dragon Souls. The type doesn't really matter, so it changing them to warrior doesn't really come up because they're still tellarknight monsters. That's really all that matters. So Oasis, just again another summon from your graveyard, and it's continuous. Another continuous that is very good. This is more the stun aspect of it. Goes in match. Each player can only control 1 attribute of monster. So obviously we're only really playing light. So this is great for this deck. And then it's continuous. I'll explain that more a little bit later once we get to the extra deck. Torrential Tribute. It's another one. If your monsters go to grave, it's usually not a terrible thing because you have many ways of getting them back from the grave. Whereas, you know, disrupting your opponent's link plays or whatever they're trying to do with Torrential Tribute is usually detrimental to them. And then these cards are kind of more the anti-meta, you know, anti-spell fragrance, great against pendulums or any deck that plays spells, which this deck does not play a lot of. So this does not hurt you, but it will normally hurt your opponent a lot. Same reason we play Unending Nightmare. That's going to be destroying spell and traps on the field, and it's continuous again. All these are continuous. And the last one is Imperial Order. Again, we're not playing very many spells, so shutting off your opponent's spells usually means you're going to win the game. So, great card. I believe this is a 44 card deck. Honestly, nowadays it really doesn't. Your deck count doesn't really matter because there's so many plays you can do and so many good cards in the game today that I find it hard most of the time to play a 40 card deck. We'll move on to the extra deck now. The big one we want to play is 3 Triver. This one, it requires 3 level 4 tellarknight monsters. During the turn you XYZ summon this monster. You cannot special summon except for tellarknight, which doesn't really matter. Doesn't really come up much. If this is Xyz summoned, return all other cards on the field to the hand. So that's what I was saying while we play, you know, a lot of continuous. So say you know, activated Call of the Haunted, you know, went into Triver, you have Goes and Match on the board. Heck, we'll say we have all 3 of these on the board. When you activate Triver, these all just return to the hand. or I mean all cards return to the hand, even every card your opponent, all cards you control, and then you just set these, and then look at that again. You can reuse Call of the Haunted, activate Goes in Match if you want to, and activate Anti-Spell again on your opponent's turn to just shut them off again. So great card. It's basically the reason we like to play a lot of continuous traps, and also once per turn you can detach one XYZ material and send one random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard. So you're sending all the cards to the hand, and then whatever they have in the hand, then you're going to be discarding one random one. And then if this is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Tellarknight in your graveyard and special summon it. So again, like with our counter trap, Stellar Nova Alpha, sending this to the grave is actually really good, because you're going to be special summoning a monster, drawing one, and then obviously, negating whatever your opponent just played. So definitely play that at 3. One we play at 2 is Deltaros. This one's actually super, super good going second. Because while this has XYZ material, your opponent can activate cards or effects when you normal or special summon a monster. And then once per turn, you can detach one, then target one card on the field, destroy it. And then if this card is sent to the grave, you can special summon one Tellarknight from your hand or deck. So obviously normally you're going to do from your deck. So just 2. You're normally, like I said, wanted to be going to Trigger. And this one does require 3 level 4 monsters as well. The other one we play at 3 is Dark Tellarknight and Batalamius. This one just requires 2, and this is your way of getting to go into Trigger or Deltaros, basically with just 2 Tellarknight, because it used to be before this card came out, you had to have 3 Tellarknights to go into these, but since this card, all you gotta have is a card in hand and 2 Tellarknights on board, which is not very hard to do. And then you're going to be, detaching one, discarding a card, and then you can then overlay Trigger onto that, and make Trigger basically with just 2 monsters. And then this one, let's see. Yeah, I don't think it has anything if it's sent to the grave, but like I said, that doesn't matter because you're going to be using this to go into one of these. And then, actually, let me leave those out because we have one more Tellarknight. Satellarknight Constellar Diamond. This one, if you're playing against a dark deck, because during either player's turn, when an opponent's dark monster activates its effect, you can detach one from this and negate the activation. And also, while this card has XYZ materials, neither player can send cards from the deck to the graveyard, and any card that returns from the graveyard to the hand, which doesn't happen very much, is banished instead. But you're normally going to be using it against like dark decks. You just basically, just say you make a Deltaros, you can then just overlay this onto the Deltaros. So it comes up every now and then. We just play one, just in case we need it. That's it for the Tellarknight XYZ monsters, just the kind of the regular ones. Digesto Emerald. It's going to just gain you advantage if you have some Tellarknight monsters in the grave. Dugaris, you could potentially use his special summon effect. You would then have to skip your next main phase. But then you're obviously going to be mostly drawing with him. Abyss Dweller, just again for the stun aspect. That hurts a lot of decks. Exton Knight, blow up the board. And then the only links we play is I sold. We don't play any equip spells, so we're not going to be using that effect. You're just basically going to be using this to add another one to hand. It's mostly just going to be if you happen to draw a bunch of monsters, you're going to be going into this. And the only other one is Hippo Shinnigan. He just requires 2 light, and he increases the attack of all your lights. And then if he's sent to the grave, or if it's destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can target 1 light and add it to your hand. So they both come up, not too often. And then the side, it's kind of open to you. I didn't even do the full 15, just kind of a few, going second if you happen to be going second. Draw and lock is amazing if you happen to, have to go second. Effect Veiler, same thing. And then Gamma, Driver, just really good cards for going second. Also, I would consider adding some kaijus, dark holes, stuff like that if you want to do that. But yeah, that's the deck profile, guys. Make sure to comment down below what you think of it. Really fun deck. Like I said, it's a really good meta call, actually. Just this deck will outgrind a lot of decks just with all the traps it plays. I think you'll find some good success if you play this version of it, especially with the anti-spell fragrance, like I said, and just a really fun deck, good control deck. Yeah, go ahead and subscribe, guys, if you like what I'm doing, and catch you on the next one.